The Los Angeles Kings made the first big trade of the summer, moving highly touted prospect Brock Faber along with their 2022 first-round pick for Minnesota Wild forward Kevin Fiala. This is a landmark transaction from LA, as this is their first trade in recent memory in which they're moving significant futures. This signals their intent to push deeper into the playoffs in the coming years. The Los Angeles Kings are shedding the identity of their old squad and looking to become contenders yet again. This is near perfect timing for the Los Angeles Kings to make moves such as the Fiala acquisition. The organization is perfectly aligned for an identity shift, marked by the retiring of former club captain Dustin Brown. Dustin Brown helped to embody the spirit of the Los Angeles Kings throughout his 18-year career, all of which years were spent as a member of the Kings. Brown spent 8 seasons as the captain of the Kings, and served as the team's leader for their 2012 and 2014 Cup victories. Brown was one of the most notable pieces of those great Kings teams, and is the most recent retiree from those squads. Most of those who played on that team are either out of the NHL or on other teams, but some notable pieces still remain. Anze Kopitar, Jonathan Quick, and Drew Doughty were all crucial to those mid-2010s Cup wins. These three, 10 years after winning the 2012 Cup, are still important members of the Los Angeles Kings. Anze Kopitar has spent all 16 years of his career with the Los Angeles Kings, and has served as captain of the team since 2016. Since coming into the league 16 years ago, Anze Kopitar has been incredibly consistent. Kopitar can be counted upon to provide about 60 points over an 82-game season, along with bringing an excellent defensive game to the table. Kopitar has won the Selke Trophy as the NHL's best defensive forward twice in his career, been named a finalist 4 times, and has received votes for the award 11 out of his last 12 seasons. Kopitar has proven year in and year out that he is a truly great first-line center, and can be used in any and all situations to help his team win. Still only 34 years old, Kopitar provides a style of play that is unique to only a select few players across the NHL. His style is very sustainable, even into the late 30s of a player's career. Should he wish to continue playing, Kopitar will likely be around with the Kings long enough to see the team become Cup contenders once again, but this time with an entirely new core. Jonathan Quick has been with the Kings only one less season than Kopitar. In his 15-year career in the NHL thus far, Quick has played 712 games, entirely as a part of the Kings organization. Quick was the starting goalie for both of the Kings Cup victories during the 2010s, and won the Conn Smythe as the playoff MVP during their 2012 victory. Despite Cal Peterson's recent emergence, Quick remains the starting goaltender to this day. Quick is only under contract for 1 more season, and his numbers have been dropping over the years. At 36 years old, there's a real possibility that next year will be his last in the NHL. For the upcoming season, though, Quick provides the experience of working and thriving under pressure that is necessary to mentor many of the young players. The final of the 3 major veterans is Drew Doughty. Doughty is the youngest of the 3, and was only 22 and 24 years old in the years that the Kings won their cups. Like Kopitar, Doughty has been consistent over the years, usually providing around 40 points, great defense, and averaging some of the most ice time in the NHL. Doughty won the Norris Trophy as the best defenseman in the NHL once, in 2015-16. He's been a finalist for the award 4 times, but despite being only 32 years old, Doughty hasn't been nominated in 4 years. Doughty's game had begun to trail off in the 2020 season, but fortunately for the Kings, he had a huge bounce-back year before an injury put him out for the year. Doughty is once again a top-pairing defender, and while he's unlikely to come close to winning a Norris Trophy again, he'll be a crucial piece to the Kings' success through the remainder of his 8-year contract. These veterans will be around to provide the leadership and high-quality play necessary to help elevate the Kings' many young stars to stardom. Kopitar can mentor the forwards, Doughty the defensemen, and Quick the goaltenders. So, who are the young stars in the LA organization? Well, to say the Kings are stacked seems like an understatement. Quinton Byfield, Rasmus Kupari, and Alex Turcotte are all forwards selected in the first round within the past 5 years with untapped potential. Arthur Kaliev, Gabriel Velarde, and Jarrett Anderson-Dolan are all players who have made contributions to the Kings organization at the NHL level and are still 22 years old or younger. And first-time All-Star Adrian Kempe and newly acquired Kevin Fiala are only 25 years old. That's 8 of the 12 forward slots that could be filled exclusively by LA's young talent. LA's prospect pool would already be better than many in just using their offensive talent, but that's just the forwards. Sean Durzi and Mikey Anderson have already cemented their places in LA's defensive group, both of whom are still only 23 years old. Tobias Bjornfoot has done the same this year, playing his first full season as a bottom or middle pairing defenseman in the NHL at only 21. Jordan Spence looks to be breaking into that group too, producing at nearly a point per game in the AHL before being called up and playing 24 games for the Kings this season. He's also still only 21. And then there's Brandt Clarke, the 8th overall selection from 2021, who is considered to be one of the best prospects in an NHL organization right now. Even beyond all of these prospects, there are still even more quality young players in the Kings organization. 19-year-olds Francesco Pinelli and Martin Chromiak both produced at over a point per game in the OHL. 2019 second-round pick Samuel Fagemo scored 27 goals in 63 games for the Ontario Reign of the AHL, while defenseman Helge Grans provided 24 points in 56 games in his debut AHL season. We could continue to go on about all the various Kings prospects, but it's clear that the organization has quantity. So, how about quality? Among the 17 young players and prospects named, only 3 were top 10 picks in the NHL draft. While later picks can of course still become stars and or useful NHL players, these 3 have the highest expectations to become the next big pieces of the Los Angeles franchise. As previously mentioned, Brandt Clarke is one of the best prospects on the back end of any team. Clarke scored 11 goals and had a total of 59 points in 55 games in the OHL this season. Clarke will likely move on up to the AHL or NHL next season, and has the upside long-term to be the top defenseman on his team. Drew Doughty should be an excellent mentor for Clarke to improve his game off of once he inevitably makes it to the NHL. The only player arguably more promising than Clarke in the Kings system is forward Quinton Byfield. Byfield was the 2nd overall pick in the 2020 draft. He hasn't quite hit the ground running yet, but shows incredible potential through his skill set, physical, and mental attributes. Byfield played 40 games in the NHL this season, scoring 5 goals and adding 5 assists for a total of 10 points. Kopitar is the perfect mentor for Byfield, as the latter drew comparisons stylistically to the former in his draft year. Kopitar can help Byfield develop into the big two-way force that he was and still is. Alex Turcotte is the last of the top 10 picks waiting to break into the Kings roster. Drafted 5th overall in 2019, he's the oldest of the 3, but still only 21 years old. Turcotte made his NHL debut this past season, playing 8 games and recording 0 points. With 18 points in 27 AHL games, he definitely still shows promise and potential. Time is running out for Turcotte to prove himself to be a high-end or even top 6 center. Fortunately, even if Turcotte doesn't ever pan out, we know the Kings have so many quality prospects that someone will eventually take the place that was expected for him. The Kings are in the perfect transitory period and can see the opportunity in front of them. Veterans like Anze Kopitar and Drew Doughty are still key contributors, and yet the organization is absolutely loaded with young talent. The roster is already very strong as is. Even without Drew Doughty, the Kings roster of the past year was able to push the Edmonton Oilers to 7 games. In adding Kevin Fiala to the roster, the Kings have gotten even stronger ahead of next season. With him now in the mix, alongside all of Los Angeles' high-end talent prospects and star veterans, it's only a matter of time before the Los Angeles Kings are Cup contenders once again.